Hello all, and Happy New Year. Hope your 2026 is starting off well. So while I was working on my Bryce Canyon video that was recently posted, um, I got to thinking about all of the things that we had to do to make that trip possible. Um, and there really wasn't room for it in that video. And some of it I showed in a previous video, the one about the national grasslands, riding there, and I'll link that video. But I wanted to just kind of highlight the kind of work that goes into a trip like that, um, which is why you guys get this video. And I have a companion at the moment. He's a bit of a goblin, but he's being very good at the moment. So, my glasses are so dirty. Anyway, first and foremost, if you do a trip like this, like the Bryce Canyon one, or any kind of trip where you're taking your horses or mules out long term, there's a few things you need to consider, or if you're even thinking about getting an animal for this kind of trip.
Oh, yeah. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Yeah, you like that, don't you?
One, you need to make sure that they're in shape. Extremely important. Two, make sure that they're up to date on other vaccines. I don't know if you guys know, but there is an equine virus going around. I think it's technically a herpes virus, but it's not spread like an STD like it is in humans. It is spread through contact. Even if you touch one horse with it and touch another horse, it can spread that way. So I know that's a thing, so make sure they're vaccinated. Another thing to consider if you're doing a trip like this is make sure your horses are shod consistently. I know there are shod versus barefoot schools of thinking. We shoe ours, and so you need to make sure that they're shod consistently enough every 6 to 8 weeks to make sure that their feet are sturdy enough and in the best shape for a trip like this. Before you go anywhere with your horse or mule, you need to make sure they have a negative Coggins test. Those are good for 1 year. And before you take them out of state, and for a lot of events and stuff, they need to have health papers. These can be gotten from your vet. I think they're only good for like a month. You'll have to confirm that again with your vet or with your state. If you're going on a big trip like this, especially out in the middle of nowhere like we were, please make sure that your vehicle, so your truck and your trailer, are both in the best possible condition. Tires, registration, electric. Make sure you've got those brake lights. You! Hello, pretties. Hello, pretty girls. That's the wrong way. So even if all your animals and your vehicles are in good condition, things you need to consider. Your tack, it's just your tack. So halters and lead ropes, basic. And then when it comes to your saddle tack, blankets, saddles, girths. If you're riding mules especially on hilly slopes, you need to make sure you've got bridge, and you need to make sure you have breast collars. That way your saddle doesn't slide. Mules sometimes even require actual back girths. When I ride mountains like that, I have an actual back girth that I put on Sue. You need to make sure you've got the right kind of headstalls with the right kind of bits. Depending on, actually, if you're going to horse camps at all, you need to make sure you've got the right kind of supplies for while you're there. So we had 5 animals. Each animal had 2 buckets, one for water, one for feed, and they had a hay bag. Some horse camps don't require hay bags, but honestly, it's better to have it than not. The Bryce Valley RV and horse camp we were at did require hay bags. You couldn't put hay on the ground. Obviously, they got hay on the ground, but you weren't just supposed to put it there. You're supposed to hang it. So hay bags for sure. Something else to consider is first aid. So even if it's just basic, like a topical ointment, gall cream, stuff like that, you need to have all your brushes, your hoof picks, everything. If they're shod, even if they're not shod, there's rubber boots that they make for animals, kind of like you have boots on a dog, except for instead of Velcro, these are like a clip. Anyway, you can get full sets. They make them for horses and for mules. They can be kind of expensive, so we have a couple of full sets because we've had to use them before when we've had an animal throw a shoe. So now we carry them to be on the safe side. I would also suggest things like pliers, extra latigo, extra clips, because you never know what's going to break. We had stuff where we had to not necessarily reassemble, but we did have some tack issues that we had to fix, like at the trailer when we were at trailhead. So extras are always helpful. When you actually get to horse camp, things to consider is it takes horses about an hour to eat. So you have to factor in that time. So you've got to feed, you've got to water. The horse camp we were at for this trip required you to clean twice a day, which doesn't take very long. I typically cleaned while my dad and my sister fed early in the mornings, and then we would tack up and travel from there. But that's definitely something to consider. You have to consider travel time when you're hauling a trailer. It takes a whole lot longer to get anywhere. And if you're on a trip that's going to be multiple days to get to your final destination, you need to make sure that you find a place you can board the horses or mules overnight, just on the trail, and make sure that that's calculated in on your budgets. Something else to consider is you have to bring feed and hay for your animals. And depending on where you are, there are different regulations regarding like what kind of hay you can bring in and what kind of feed you can bring in so that you don't bring in invasive species. That's something you have to check. Honestly, wherever you board them or whatever horse camp should be able to tell you, but that's definitely something you should check on because you don't want to get fined for having the wrong kind of feed. A lot of horse camps and do have hay you can buy, but something you need to watch out for is like mules in particular can eat a lot of alfalfa, and I cannot remember why. I'll put some information on it in the description, that way you guys can do your research, but it just doesn't agree with them as much, and it can be bad over a long term. So you got to make sure you have appropriate feed for your animals. Once you actually do get somewhere, wherever your final destination is, some things you need to consider. You need to have good maps, good GPS, and or there are some places, like when we went on our trip to Bryce Valley, where the owner of the horse camp suggested that we pre-drive to a location so that we knew where to park and where the actual trail got off the road. This was really good because there was a heck of a tall hill that we needed to go up, and like the turnoff was a little funny. So pre-driving it took us maybe half an hour, and it saved us so much time and so much headache because we knew exactly where we were going. Something else to consider is permits. Riding Peekaboo Loop in Bryce Canyon National Park does require a permit. I don't remember what they cost because I wasn't the one who did that. That was my sister, so shout out to my sister for getting those for us. But yeah, sometimes you need permits. And something else is stay on trail. A lot of these places are in ecosystems that are vulnerable, so stay on trail. It's beautiful, but stay on trail. There you go. Yeah, you see him. You see him. You see him, pretty girl. Those are mule deer. Let's stay on trail. And before you even go on these big trips. You need to go on local trails. You need to go on trails at home, trails that are closer, trails where there's better support if you get in an accident, just so that your animals are accustomed to the trail. Bear, how's that leg ghost? And also desensitization training. This can be as simple as waving flags next to them. That's what some of the stuff that we've done. My dad at one point rolled a ball towards them. You need to get your animals accustomed to the unexpected. These are prey animals. Their fight or flight is real. So desensitization is really good for them. Yeah, that one's always a good one. We're looking at the birds. It's a hard time. But yeah, so my point is, trips like this are not something where you can pull your animals out of the pasture, put them in the trailer, and just go. That's not how it works. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to you, and it could get you in trouble. So make sure your animals are up to date on all their vaccinations, on all their health stuff. Make sure they're in decent shape. Make sure they've got good shoes. Make sure your tack is all up to date and in good condition. And make sure you're both ready. Those shorter trails, those shorter weekend things, those are for both of you to make sure that you know what you're doing and the animal knows what they're doing. You're setting up that expectation. Yeah, I hope this helps you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Sunset rides just hit different. Miss Sue's a bit tired, but she did a really good job.